And so tonight in our conversation, we kind of put it this way. It's confrontation or conversation. And we need to see, where's the focus in that? Is the focus in our conversation, or is the focus in confrontation? A lot of times when we approach other people, we do so with, I already have a preconceived idea of what the outcome of this conversation is going to be, and I approach the conversation that way. That's not the way we're supposed to do it, is it? If we sit down with a conversation with someone, we're supposed to actually, I don't know, maybe listen. You know, husbands, take note. We're supposed to actually listen, and when we listen, listening does not mean I'm trying to develop my response to what you are saying, because then you're not like fully hearing what's being said. Okay? So what I ask you to do tonight is just listen. Because you'll hear, without a doubt, you'll hear the heart of the Father. You'll hear what He's desiring for His people. And if you listen carefully, you'll notice that it's very prophetic for the time that we're in. You're part of the biggest prophecy that there is in all of Scripture. And most people don't even know it. So, before I take up all the time, I want to bring on and introduce to you Hanoch. If you don't mind, can you give us a little background for those who haven't heard of you or don't know you, or for those who will be watching the video a little later on?
Sure, no, absolutely, it'd be my pleasure. The only question I have is, I just moved my chair back. I hope I didn't send everything out of sync. Okay, that's perfect. Well, first of all, you know, most of you know I'm a tour guide in Israel, a licensed tour guide. So you're probably thinking, you know, it doesn't sound like those other Israeli guys that we met, you know, way back when in Israel. And yeah, this isn't an Israeli accent. This accent was born and raised in the Bronx, New York. Oh, that's not usual reaction we get, but that's okay. It's all good. We're here amongst family. I'm not going to start picking fights. You all behave yourselves, though, okay? It goes both ways. I guess what I should touch upon, which is probably the single most important thing, is the fact that the last week in April that we just experienced, 24 years ago exactly, the last week in April 1994, I began meeting people who said, you know, I'm not Jewish, but I think I'm part of Israel. And that was a staggering revelation, and it launched me and changed the direction of my entire life ever since. And since then, I've been looking, now, not without stop, because I got to admit, many times I try to run away from all of y'all. And this is a uniquely American thing. No offense, of course. By the way, have you guys, I just learned this on my last trip to America speaking, that when Americans say to you, no offense, they're about to offend you. But it's kind of like, I'm saying no offense, and that's going to give me a free pass. It's a staggering thing. People from nowhere else in the world do that. Except if they're Canadian and they're apologizing the entire time for, you know, for invading your space. No. So it launched me on a journey of discovery to connect with my brothers and sisters, and it was an overwhelming compulsion to do so, and I couldn't really figure out what I was supposed to do with you. My background is in operations management. Give me a task. I'll get the staff. We'll get the budget together. We'll get a chart of all the things that we need to do in what order. I think it's called a Gantt chart, if I remember my business, you know, in a previous life. I didn't know what to do with you. And I felt really bad until I realized that you didn't know what to do with yourselves either. So it was okay. It was really okay. And it wasn't until, I guess it was back in 2013, when I started, I moved to Israel. I went on Aliyah. I became an Israeli in September 2009. And it was actually in 2013 when I began coming back to America regularly to speak to groups like here at Ruach Ministries, my Ruach family. And it was in August 2013, I know this is going to sound a little weird compared to everything else that I talk about, when I walked into a Walmart for the very first time in my life. In New York City, we didn't have Walmart. We had heard about it. We had dreamed about it. And places like Costco and Sam's Club, we didn't experience that. So it's August 2013. I'm back in America to speak for the very first time in what I now call the Revolution for Restoration, dealing with each other, both sides of the family, through mutual respect for the reconciliation and restoration of all of Israel. I'm in Winchester, Kentucky. My dear friend and co-conspirator Ken Rank says, Saturday night, Shabbat's over, would you like to go to Walmart? It's like, whoa, this is like an anthropological expedition. This is like, it was just an amazing thing for me. And in Walmart, y'all have greeters. These people are like, hi, how are you? How are you doing today? It's like, and you know, coming from New York, it's kind of like, you talking to me? What's up with that guy? What does he want from me? Want to start something? I'll take you outside and throw you a beating. You know, it was a radical thing. And I realized, in effect, that maybe from the Jewish side of the family, from Judah, that was to be my job. That I was to go around and encourage and support my brothers and sisters in this walk who've been woken up to realize that they're part of Israel. And it was actually the driving factor in why I became a licensed tour guide. Because who else was going to be prepared to show Ephraim their homeland once again? And either we believe in the prophecies of all the prophets of Israel that speak incessantly about the restoration of all of Israel, or we don't. And if we do, we've got to get ready.
Well said. And all that was, how are you today? No, I'm kidding. I got to harass him because he is my brother, you know, so it's like.
You know, my father, blessed memory, used to say that in this world you got to pick your friends. You didn't get to pick your family. The good news that David and I are both friends and family. And that's really important because, again, you get to choose your friends. In terms of the familial part, we're all stuck with each other. And some of you who've known me for a few years are sitting there saying, oh, yeah, that's an understatement. But anyway, so here we are. I'll drink to that.
L'chaim. And yeah, that's the thing that we want to talk about. So here we are, and the question is, what is here, what is we, and what is our? I mean, that's the thing we're looking at. When we say wow, there's more to the scriptures than I ever knew, because, you know, coming from where, you know, I was raised and growing up, we spent our emphasis in the latter part of the book. We didn't spend too much time in the Tanakh, really just to pull a couple stories out here and there. I mean, we really didn't pull out much doctrine or teaching or things on that.
Right.
And when that all of a sudden became such a revelation, I know in my life, you know, it's like, okay, so the Sabbath didn't change after a period of time looking at it. What else didn't change?
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah, what happens, you know? So, you know, our Heavenly Father, He doesn't change, and if His Word doesn't change, then what does that say about me? I guess I have to change. And so more people are coming to that. More people are coming to this to realize, wow, God like meant what He said all the time, and here we are still, and He still hasn't changed, and it's exciting, and it's and it's new, and it's amazing. Now, what does that have to do with you? And I think this is where we're looking at, guys, because we see that there's many people who are waking up to this awesomeness of the Word of God, that we didn't get the whole story, you know? And then at the same time, let's not leave in the dust those that have been paving the way for a few thousand years, that have brought us the integrity of the Word that in no other way we would have had. And so we're waking up to this, and now, I mean, no disrespect, no offense.
No offense.
But now we have a whole bunch of people coming to our big brother, I'm going to say, and saying, you're doing things wrong. I mean, what do you do with something like that?
Well, first of all, you try not to take it too seriously. Simply because, you know, people come and their hair on fire. They're like, I've got all the truth now, and you know what? And I've done an intense study for the last 3 weeks. Or they start correcting how we pronounce Hebrew. This is great. You know, I start speaking to them in Hebrew. They're like, what? So, well, you're correcting me, you're correcting the Jewish people, the way we pronounce Hebrew or every aspect of it. So where did you learn Hebrew? Well, there was a post on Facebook that I read and what's astounding is that people are serious about it. And the reality is, all of us, on both sides of the family, need to have a lot more humility and a lot less arrogance. And, you know, when people come and say, well, I've got all the truth now, I warn them about needing an orthopedic surgeon. Because they're so busy patting themselves on the back for having all the truth that they're bound to injure their rotator cuff and will need surgery. And speak to Dr. David Jones, who knows all about orthopedic surgery now, unfortunately.
Oh, please don't.
Yes. So it's a sense of, wait a minute. And then I gently remind people that when you were a Baptist, you were hair on fire because you had all the truth. When you were charismatic Pentecostal, you were sure you had all the truth. You very well may have the truth for you, but a little more humility because we stand before Avinu Shebashamayim, our Father in heaven. I mean, think of it that way. You know, it's interesting. In most synagogues in America, in front of the Aron HaKodesh, the Holy Ark, it's written in Hebrew, Da lifnei miata omed, know before whom you stand. Wow. And I saw something on Facebook the other day. Not everything on Facebook is bad. It was a great meme that said, you should treat the Bible the way you treat your iPhone. Never leave home without it. If you forget it, to go back in, to be searching it throughout the day for insight and direction. Whoa.
That's awesome.
Yes, you know, I years ago when I worked in corporate America, I had worked for a particular vice president who used to say that if you have a good idea, by 5 o'clock it's mine. So now, since I have no idea who posted that, I came up with this the other day, and
and it's after 5 o'clock.
And it's after 5 o'clock, so it's now mine.
You said a great word there. You said humility.
Yeah.
And I think humility and respect go together, especially in aspects of truth, because something that it took me a while to learn is that there's only one truth, but there's many things that are true. See, the only truth is the word of the living God.
Yeah.
But there are many things of that that are true. And none of us know everything that is true. And so we're all in a process. We're all in a journey. And
That's absolutely true.
What does the scripture say? I mean, pride, you know, knowledge makes us prideful and arrogant. And so let's be careful not to go there. The more we think we know, the more we need to check ourselves to make sure that we're not, you know, getting puffed up.
You know, there's an expression in the Jewish world that we say that there are shivim panim leTorah, that there are 70 faces to the Torah. And everyone assumes that there are 70 different equally valid interpretations. No, what it's showing is there's one Torah, but from the angle that we're approaching it, we see it a little differently. And that's where you need humility and mutual respect. Mutual respect for the reconciliation, restoration of all of Israel. That's what it's all about. Judah doesn't try to turn Joseph into Judah. Everyone loves that part. The part that really sticks in some people is that Joseph doesn't try to turn Judah into Joseph. And people say, but they're in error. Okay, here we go again. But there's a great verse that I go back to all the time, Jeremiah 46:28, in due course I will correct you. When God himself is saying, you know what? I'm going to take care of sorting this all out. Because there's no way that we can reconcile the various religious differences, even though what we have in common is far greater than anything that could potentially divide us. It's still going to take, and that prophecy of Yechezkel, Ezekiel 37, the two sticks drawing close together. But notice we only become one in his hand. Really important. So although, you know, we live in a world where we can do anything, I mean, we think of it. We all walk around with a mini computer as a phone, a computer that was stronger than the ones that the United States used to launch men into space. You got little kids in grade school having an iPhone. It's an amazing thing. So we've got technology at our grasp. We just have to stop being silly about it.
Wow. You know, going back to that word respect, because you were talking about mutual respect.
R-E-S-P-C-T.
Oh, he's going to start singing now.
I don't know what it means to me.
You can only sing the song if you do the dance. I shouldn't have said it.
Be careful of the gauntlet you throw, Dr. Jones. Be careful. Be afraid.
Yeah, I shouldn't have gone there.
Very
It's like, you know, it's amazing. If you haven't been to Israel, you need to go, and you need to get hold of him to take you there. But when you go and you actually see people talking, you're like, Hanoch, what are they fighting about? They're not fighting about anything. They're talking. Oh, what are they fighting about? Nothing. You're like, I don't get it. What's going on? You know, like if that happened over here, it wouldn't take a time for like knives and guns to come out. You know, like what's going on over there?
This is one thing unequivocally I can say that all who identify as part of Israel can learn from the Jewish side of the family. We don't have a sense of quote unquote right doctrine. Right doctrine. You don't join a synagogue based on its principles. I don't know anyone that's ever been thrown out of a synagogue because of their beliefs or non-beliefs. But I have heard of the infamous left foot of fellowship that's knocked people out the doors because they don't agree to a particular point of doctrine or belief or whatever the pastor, minister, preacher of a particular church feels is acceptable or not. But yeah, in the Jewish community, there's a lot of like, people raise their voices, they get very animated. What are you talking about? But you'll notice afterwards, they'll still say, hey, didn't we say we were going out for ice cream? And then they go.
Is Haagen-Dazs kosher?
Yes, it is. There are very few ice creams that are not kosher. Although when I was in California 2 years ago speaking, I came across something that I had never would have imagined existed. Bacon-flavored ice cream with real bacon bits in it. Y'all in America love that bacon stuff. Yeah. I was astounded by it.
Okay, something you told me once, I laughed, and it's great, is that you went to a restaurant, you're trying to find something to eat, and you're trying to avoid, pork, so you order a salad, right?
In fact, it was called a vegetable salad. I don't want to name the state, or the republic of, or the nation of. But I'll give you a hint. Israel's only 1/33 the size of it. So in this particular state, if you were to drop Israel in a corner of it, you wouldn't find it for 3 weeks. So I'm in the southeast part of this very, very large state. And it's unbelievable. It's like, pulled pork, and it's pulled pork with bacon, it's pulled pork with sausage, it's pulled pork with sausage patties, pulled pork with sausage. I've never, ever been, and of course, because we define kosher in terms of meat and chicken differently, that wasn't an option for me either. I go down the list and I find vegetable salad.
And there's you eat a lot of vegetables in Israel.
We certainly do.
Yeah. And they taste better over there, by the way.
Yeah, and here their idea of lettuce is iceberg lettuce. Okay. I would do better eating this from this fake plant over here, but it's okay. Okay. So, Mrs. Young didn't raise that silly a boy, so I asked the waitress. I said, okay, so this is just vegetables. She said, yes, sir, it says vegetable salad. Don't diss me. I'm just asking a question. There's no meat in it. She said, no, absolutely not. I said, no shellfish. No. Wow, great. I'm sorry, would you mind telling me specifically what's in it? She said, sure. It's lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, carrots. We're getting close. Dun, 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 dun. This is great. Oh, what kind of dressing do you guys put on? Oh, no, you do that yourself, sir. And she points there, and I see all kinds of different dressings, and I see olive oil. Sadly, it wasn't Israeli olive oil, but olive oil. I see pepper, salt. I'm fine. Everyone's talking, and they begin bringing out the things that people had ordered. And the vast majority of the people in the group that I was with are not in the Hebrew Roots movement and didn't have any dietary restrictions whatsoever. So the pastor's getting the pulled pork and all the, I'm sitting there, nice Jewish boy from Modi'in, Israel. I feel like, how do the pigs feel about being pulled apart like that? But listen, there was the Save the Whales movement. I'm not going into the Save the Pigs movement. So I get my salad. And what's really funny is, I don't know if it was the lighting there, because it seemed that there was these little brown things on it. Really little, but they're like brown things all over it. I asked the woman I was sitting next to, I'm sorry, what is that? Color drains from her face and says, bacon. Say what? Call over the waitress. Excuse me. I thought I ordered a vegetable salad. Yes, sir, that is the vegetable salad. Well, but I thought it was just vegetables. She said, yeah, there is. I said, but we agreed there was no meat. She said, no, there's no meat on it. So, aha! I'm Inspector Clouseau. And what's that? She looks at me and says, bacon. I said, okay. I'm sorry, am I speaking Aramaic? What is it that you're not getting? I said, and bacon's not meat? She said, sir, that's a seasoning. Lord have mercy. It was a little unsettling, to be honest with you. I should have just gone with the ice cream down the block, but in that part of that very, very large unnamed state, bordering on Mexico, I don't want to name it. There's no reason to. I don't want anyone to feel bad.
Just got away with words, bro. but that does
Settles
tie into the
my
idea
middle
of
name. People have called me other things, but I'm all about the subtle.
I'm not buying it.
It's a tough audience we've got tonight, I really have to say.
No laugh track provided.
Yeah.
So this does tie into some things that we're actually trying to do in restoration, because one of the big things to overcome are our let me get the Ohio out so I can speak there. One of the things we need to get out is our ideas of the things that we believe, and to try to see it from another perspective.
Right.
And so, her perspective, well, that's not meat, and you're like, it's flesh, it's meat, So a lot of times
it's the other white meat, but it's still meat. Yeah.
Until it's smoked and salted and yeah. It's because kosher means how you slaughter the pig, right?
Yes, they grow the soy plants and the big plants. Yeah.
But what we're finding is a lot of times we really are trying to do a lot of the same things. It's just we're kind of running over on top of each other in areas where we should be trying to be joining with each other.
Right. There's no reason to continue this kind of theological spitting contest. That because people are walking around with this chip on their shoulder that I'm totally right, but for me to be totally right, you've got to be totally wrong. And it's not about that. We're to do our walk as we best understand it. Now, it seems really confusing to all of us that Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King, split the kingdom of Israel, northern kingdom taken off into the Assyrian exile, disappears for about 2,700 years, being forced to forget their identity, crawl through the pig pens of history, and then all of a sudden, just in the last 3 decades, people around the world, through their own study, have come to the realization that they're the very people that the prophets of Israel speak about. But we've wound up in 2 very distinctly different religious environments. But that's okay, because we serve a God who's totally infallible. He's going to sort this out for us. And for us to basically bust a gut about it is not right. We need to focus on those areas where we stand together, and probably most importantly of all, stand together for the state of Israel. And we're living in a time where violent anti-Semitism is at a level not seen since the Shoah, since the Holocaust. It's about to all hit the fan.
You know, we've heard for far back as I can remember, because I was raised in a Baptist church, but even then, I remember hearing, at one point, all nations are going to come against Israel. So it was like, be careful, don't do that. But yet, we've done that a lot, and not even realizing it, just by simply not supporting and making a stand for Israel, and we're allowing them to go through things that they shouldn't have to.
You know, there, in our discussion earlier today, there's a verse from Psalms, Tehillim, Psalm 78, verse 9, and it says, on the day of battle, the warriors of Ephraim, you know, fled the field. I pray, I mean, you know, you don't have to be a world history major to look at what's going on with Iran and to know that major battles and wars are coming, and not just for us in Israel. Because remember, to the Muslim world, we in Israel are just the little Satan. Y'all are the big Satan. So these battles are coming. Where's the focus of Ephraim? And that's why, for instance, you know, in the tour that Mike Clayton and I have created, the Connect to Israel tour, it's called the Connect to Israel tour. Because the purpose of what I do is to connect or reconnect people to the land of Israel. That's the central place. People need to be buying Israeli products. We'll talk more about that. But you know, here in the US, sabrastyle.com, sabrastyle.com. You've got Nati Rom's project, Lev HaOlam. You get a monthly box. Some congregations do that. There's a lot that people can be doing. But now's the time to do it. You can't stand on the sidelines any longer. You're in. If you claim to be, and I know y'all are, part of the people of Israel, please remember, we are one people, one Torah, and one land. That's it. That's the whole enchilada.
Now, here's where the problems start to come in, because I firmly believe that as well. We are one people. We serve one God. He is our king. It is Israel, right? But yet, at this point, Israel is still fragmented. You know, it's still all over and everywhere. And this whole idea of Israel, when we say Israel, most people say, oh, you mean the Jews. Guys, there's more to Israel than just the Jewish people. Okay? And that's one of the things that Hanoch has for now, of quite a while now, has been spending his time trying to bring in a reconciliation and a restoration of not just one people, but to help make one people, to help people to realize that we are one body. And a body functions and operates differently, right? I mean, finger, thumb, feet, nose, everything functions differently, but it's all part of the same. And I want to touch on that prophecy in Ezekiel, where we talk about the two sticks coming together, because most people, when we read that, we think of, okay, there's two people there, you know, there's Judah, the stick for Judah, and then for Ephraim, the stick of Yosef. But if you read closely, there's actually 4 groups of people there. So what do you say about that?
Okay, the important thing to remember, because there are people who say, you know, listen, and here's an important part to stress. Being part of the people of Israel is in conjunction with not replacing your Jewish brothers and sisters. So there are those people, I don't need to name whom, who claim that this movement is all about replacement theology, which is abhorrent. No, it is not. It's the reconciliation of the family of Israel. We're a family. This is about the greatest family reunion in the history of the world, about to happen, coming to a town near you. But having said that, in that prophecy it speaks of the stick of Yosef, Ephraim, and those associated with him, and the stick of Judah, and those associated with him. So don't sweat a cow of like, well, I'm not sure I'm part of Ephraim. Now, Ephraim, of course, doesn't necessarily mean the tribe of Ephraim. That's a word that's used to describe the northern kingdom of Israel, which in the Tanakh is described one of four ways: Ephraim, Joseph, Samaria, or Israel. Same. By the way, Judah is always described as Judah. So when you see Judah and Israel, it means Judah and Israel. It does not mean the Jewish people and the Jewish people. There's no stuttering going on there. It's very, very straightforward, clear cut. But we are to draw closer together, which means we're to do what we're doing now. We're dialoguing. And I got to tell you, this is now my 15th trip to America, sadly all self-funded, since August 2013. And I've gone to some places where I've looked at the audience, and it's like, they've always lynched Jews here, haven't they? Or, those where I'm not sensing, being dismembered, but I'm going to be run out of town on a rail. Because we're set up in our minds to see the world according to me. And what's interesting is we read the Bible and we know that God made mankind in his image. So why is it that there are people around who were interested in turning God and his creations into their own images? It's almost like people should put a sign up on their desk that says, "It's hard to be humble when you're as great as I am." It's not about us. Doesn't it say repeatedly we are to be servants? We've got our marching orders. The Torah is an action-oriented guide to life. And that's a stretch for some people because they're saying, well, we're coming from backgrounds in Christianity, typically, not exclusively, and we're all about faith and grace. That's not true. That was true then, but not true now. Because if you're living a life of observing the Torah, it's the thou shalt nots. There are things you've got to do. It's not just like, well, yeah, it's Shabbat this week, on Friday night, except if it's inconvenient for me. Or, if the, major, college football rivalry in the state happens on Shabbat, it's like, well, we don't go to services. God forbid people tape the game and watch it later. No. They've got, so, it's kind of like, and then, all people want to know is like, what did you Jews know about us? How would we know about you? How can we, the Jewish side of the family, understand you better? Well, how well do your Christian friends, relatives, and neighbors understand you? Yeah. It's a sense that people expect that, someone asked, do you in Israel, don't you guys in Israel know that we have these major Sukkot gatherings throughout the country where y'all are there Sukkotin, I'm learning all kinds of vocabulary that we on the Jewish side never even thought of. We observe Sukkot, we never thought we were Sukkotin, but listen, I was given a t-shirt by Mike Clayton on our Connect Israel tour last fall that says Hanoch's official Shabbatin shirt. Shabbatin, yeah. Okay, but Shabbatin's different than Sukkotin. Just understand that. They sound similar, particularly if you're from the Northeast originally. I'm sorry, I'm really digressing here terribly.
And I'm just enjoying you doing it.
Okay. No, so I guess back to the point, whatever that would have been. Yeah, really kind of, it'd be nice if it was kind of like, up on a big screen somewhere, but it's not.
No, hey, this is about how the conversations go, guys. Seriously.
And what's really funny is the concept of when you begin to get to know somebody,
Careful.
you've got to watch out.
Careful.
Because you'll find that you really like them. You might like
hit
the
to
same
throw a
kind of
curve.
music. You might like the same kind of movies. You might, I mean, you might find you even like the same kind of ice cream. You never know where that kind of stuff's going to lead. And people will readily walk away, like say from an introduction or from a lecture. They won't as readily walk away from a relationship. And in a relationship, any relationship that you ever have, you're always trying to get to know the other person. And if you again accept the basic premise that you're as right as I am for you, then the pressure's off. I don't have to try to change you, and I don't have to sit there and go chapter and verse. That stuff never worked anyway. Yeah. Come on. People have been trying that on the Jewish people for 2,000 years.
I heard said if you can convince somebody into something, somebody else can convince them out.
That's absolutely true. And nobody in this movement is here because they watched a particular DVD or saw something on YouTube or read a book, unless that book was the Bible. It's pretty radical.
It's an amazing concept, isn't it? We're finding people that are just waking up and finding scriptures that they didn't find before, things that may not have seen before, kind of jumping off the page now. And I believe that's the heart of the Father. That's His Ruach being sent throughout our midst.
It's that divine email that people have gotten. Now, please understand something. This is not to be, and will never be, a mass movement. It's not going to be tens of millions of people, certainly not hundreds of millions of people. Why? Very simply, throughout the Torah and throughout the prophets, we're told that it would be a remnant. A remnant. It's not going to be kind of all y'all. It's a remnant. And by the way, that's on both sides of the family.
But we're talking about a remnant. And, I mean, we were actually talking about that a little earlier. You guys, if you haven't met him or don't see him, and in the camera, he's kind of off screen. But David Altman is hiding over in the corner over here. And for those of you who don't know, he's like a walking encyclopedia, man.
And remember,
yeah,
nobody puts baby in the corner. And that one was for you.
So we were talking and just talking about a remnant. Guys, just the definition of the word remnant implies that it's just what's left, right?
And the reason we go to what's left has to do with this shakeout and has to do with this divine email. Because not everyone that's been woken up to this walk actually follows it. It's very difficult. It's very, it pains me over the years to hear these stories of the sacrifices that people have made to be in this walk. Relationships, marriages that are broken up, family members that will no longer have anything to do with you. As I like to say, there's no sane person that would have chosen this walk of their own volition. They're brought into it because they are part of the people of Israel. But because Avinu Shebashamayim, our Father in heaven, has given us free will, we've got to say, I'm taking that invitation. I'm stepping forward. I'm going to be Avraham Ha'ivri, Abraham from the other side, to step over into that walk of Torah, to actively be part of the people of Israel. Because you can't just say, well, I'm part of the people of Israel, and not do anything about it.
On that line.
On that line.
On that line. And this is where a lot of people get into their whole replacement theology and stuff that we had talked about, which we're not necessarily addressing that. But the point is, when people are waking up to this and realize that there are other people around them that aren't, okay, so we're like, wait a minute, so we're Israel, guys. I mean, Scripture says we're grafted in, doesn't it? You know, and so when we realize this is an amazing thing for us, but how come the person sitting next to us doesn't believe that? I mean, so we have people in churches and places all over who are seeing this, and then others aren't. And so it's one of these things where not everyone sitting in the congregations is Yosef.
You know, one of the things that I repeatedly point out to people that, in my opinion, based on Scripture, there is no reason to assume that every Christian is an Ephraimite. Now, in America, much of Ephraim is coming from Christianity, But, you know, that's like saying here in Florida, every Floridian is an American. But every American isn't necessarily a Floridian. Floridian. That was kind of tough to say, but I think you know what I mean. So people are woken up to this, but then it's their choice. And some take the easier route.
There's a lot of choices to make in this walk and in this life. And we need to make the choice to, and well, here's the thing. Unfortunately, it takes time, doesn't it? You know?
It takes a lot of time.
Because when we first see this, we're like toddlers. And you guys know toddlers pitch fits? They have tantrums.
I've heard that rumor.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't quite remember.
And then when you grow up a little more, the idea is as you grow up and as you mature, the tantrums stop. Because that's what kids do. It's not what adults do. Adults should be able to talk, not throw yourself on the floor kicking and screaming, right? So why are we pitching such a fit about things when we should be able to just kind of sit down and talk about things that we may not have an understanding of? And I do want to kind of bring something up about that, because I think one of the big things we seem to have a misunderstanding of is the Messiah.
Yeah.
And we can hear this, right? The thing is...
Oh, no, he didn't just say that, did he?
I would like for you to share with people what you see in the Scripture relating to the Messiah, what he will do.
Okay. You know, for those people who are particularly at the beginning stages of feeling that we, the importance of reconciliation and restoration, they still feel, well, the issue of the Messiah is the biggest divide between us. Well, I'm about to lay out for you why it's not. Oh, I'm waiting for this one. Let's see how he gets out of that.
Oh, we need to post-edit cue some suspenseful music in there, you know.
You mean something like dun 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 dun, or maybe like no, no. You could tell I'm a child of the TV. That was the generation. First, let me share with you the Jewish understanding of the Messiah. First of all, a definition of terms. Messiah is from the Hebrew Mashiach. Mashiach means anointed. Anointed with olive oil, which all the kings of Israel were anointed. Okay. So let's take that little bit of information and put it aside. So the term Mashiach, and from the Greek to the English, became Christ. So, for instance, that's so there's no mysticism behind it. It's just a definition of a term. The Jewish understanding. Oh, first, let me step back a second. We in the Jewish world have no concept whatsoever of this thing that's important in some people's minds and hearts of knowing the Messiah or acknowledging the Messiah. Doesn't exist in our world.
Can I throw a little quick note in there? Guys, it's about the Heavenly Father, is it not? And, even Yeshua said it's about Him. And we lose sight of that, right? So we need to keep this important. We believe, and He's okay with me saying this, we believe Yeshua is the Messiah and that He brings us into the presence of the Father. He allows us to come into the presence of the Father. We serve the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right?
Allegedly.
Who do you serve? The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Okay, someone should cue up Bob Dylan now with, you got to serve somebody. No, we're not going to sing Dylan. I'm not old. I'm not that old. So let me share with you the Jewish understanding of the Messiah. Now, very importantly, that doesn't mean we're right and you're wrong. It's a different understanding. And understanding the difference is incredibly liberating because you realize you don't have to force your view on someone else. So the Jewish understanding is the Messiah, a human being, ruler of Israel, empowered to make world peace. Now that's really world peace. That's the Messianic era. The wolf is laying with the lamb. There are no wars. There's no sex slavery. There's no horrible things going around the world. I think we can all agree we're not at that point. So in the Jewish mind, when we speak of the Messianic era, that's what we're talking about. Okay? Now, by the way, just a little aside, the buses will still be running. We still have to go to work. Your lawns will continue to need to be mowed. I'm really sorry. But that's it. The world as we know it continues with this idea of world peace. Now, the exiles are ingathered. The temple is rebuilt unless it's already built. In the Jewish mindset, whoever, that should be bold in italics and three-dimensional, big, whoever does that is the Messiah. Was that too subtle for some? Whoever does that is the Messiah. So it's not an issue, did the Messiah come already? Is he coming the first time, the second time? Is he late? Is he early? It's an issue in the Jewish mind, whoever does that is the Messiah. We don't have a concept of a need to label someone to give them that title until they do those tasks. It doesn't mean you're wrong, it doesn't make us right. That's our understanding. So when the Messiah comes and what I'm all about is working together to bring the Messiah and get that final redemption, the whole thing. The whole thing. The whole thing. All of it. That's what I'm about. That's the Jewish understanding. And I have to tell you, I find it incredibly liberating to share that concept with people because it shows that we're not diametrically opposed. We're not. We are talking about two different things. Either you're talking about the final messianic redemption, which is what Jewish people talk about when they talk about the Messiah. And we, again, I'll say it again, we can all agree we're not there yet. We're not at the final redemption. So let's work together and get there. Wow, man, what a concept.
And I can agree with his idea of of what he says the Messiah is going to do. So, yeah, I mean, we can find that all through Scripture, guys. Should we let him in on a little secret, though?
Sure, why not?
that Hanoch said he kind of hopes who the Messiah would be, though.
You know, it's really funny we're talking about this because everyone thinks that to a Jewish mindset, if the Messiah bringing the final redemption turns out to be Yeshua, our heads will explode. First of all, no. People say, well, you'll have to go over and beg forgiveness. Why? We don't have a concept. We never have of a need to acknowledge the Messiah before he does those things. But you know what? If it turns out to be Yeshua, well, first of all, as he comes walking down the Mount of Olives, Har Zaytim, he's going to see me a lot sooner than he sees all y'all. That's number one. Number two, how's your Hebrew coming along? And people get really upset when I say that and say, you know what? The Messiah can speak any language he wants. By the way, I think that's absolutely true. But why would he want to speak English? No offense. Okay. But if it's Yeshua, I know, and you should realize too, that he's going to be walking around holding people accountable and wanting to know, you said and did what to whom in my name? Oops, there it is. Yeah, this is going to, I got to tell you. So you know what? Who the Messiah is, frankly, Scarlett, I couldn't care less. Really. We got to get the Messiah here. We got to get this world squared away. We've got to get the light of the Torah to everybody. And everyone's, well, you're going to have to repent, and you're going to have to repent. We all are going to have to. I always think we're all going to get an individualized correction. Oh, Dr. Jones. I hope they don't confuse you with Indiana Jones. You know, that Dr. Jones.
That was the dog's name.
Yeah. Do you hate snakes? Yes. Ah! We're talking about the same Dr. Jones. What you've been doing is great. You should have been doing a little more of this and a little less of that. Wow. That's for all of us. You know, again, go back to that sign that I say people should put on their desk. It's hard to be humble when you're as great as I am. Forget about it. It's really a sense of we are to be servants of Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King. That's what this is. And you know, all right, here's another truth that we have to unveil to everybody. Collectively, we, the people of Israel, we descend from the single most dysfunctional family in the history of this planet. Right. Remember Joseph, his brothers, they loved him. Should we kill him? Should we sell him into slavery? Well, let's drop him in the pit. You know, we'll sell him to a slave caravan. In the meantime, let's go to the local Taco Bell and get something to eat. Yeah, what a great family. Yes, people say, well, you know, pity me, I'm from a dysfunctional family. Yeah, the people of Israel are. We're bad.
That's like what we've been talking about, though. You know, we get to a certain point in our life where, you know, you can say, oh, my parents, you know, everything's my parents' fault. No, they did this, and they did that, and they did the other. But you know, there comes a point in your life when you can't blame anybody for where you're at.
Yeah. You've got to take responsibility for yourself.
Yeah, so you were dealt a tough hand in life, and you can feel bad, but at some point you say, what are you going to do about it? At some point you have to say, you have to live your life from this point forward. And I think that's where we're seeing some things here in the Scripture, because we all have made mistakes in the past, okay? And we need to be able to approach one another in a way that shows respect, in a way that shows we actually care about you as a person. We actually care about, you know, the people that we're talking to. And it takes some growing up to do.
Do you mean as opposed to a soul that you want to tack on the wall, or, you know, kind of another notch, you know, on your belt?
I got to say, guys, you ever meet people that you just feel like they're trying to sell you something? How do you feel about that? You know, plus, has it worked?
No. But, you know, people, if I just showed you the prophecies in Script, you have no idea how many emails I get. How many people throughout the world on a daily basis are praying for my soul. Like, really?
Hanoch, you know a lot of these prophecies better than a lot of other people I've talked to. Seriously.
Well, no offense. Remember, as punishment, Ephraim was to become lo ami, not my people. They were to forget their identity. And y'all have been crawling through the pig pens of history for 2,700 years. The task left to the Jewish side of the family was to maintain the Torah. Now, you may not like what we've done with it. You may not like how we understand it and interpret it, or how we observe it. Okay. Don't have a canary about it. Big deal. It's not your responsibility. It never works well. You know, when my daughters were growing up, it never worked well when one would try to correct the other. Siblings, doesn't work. Don't try this at home. That's what the Father's for. And we've got a Heavenly Father.
Well, isn't that what happens? Sibling tries to correct sibling. Sibling gets mad at sibling. Siblings fight. Then they yell for mom or dad, right?
That's right.
And we need to skip all that and just yell for our Father. Like we can't resolve something. Let's just turn our focus towards Him and see what He would desire for us to do in a situation. And so we're learning step by step to see this reconciliation and this restoration that we've been far apart from for a very long time.
Only if your heart and mind are open to the love that we as the people of Israel need to share with each other. I mean, this is really sort of the line in the sand. If you can't open your heart, and what's really interesting is I never realized in these 15 trips to America, traveling all around the U.S., and for those who believe the earth is flat, I've went off the edge too many times. By the way, if you believe the earth is flat or any of the other theories about anything, that should be fine as long as it's your belief. as long as you don't try to oppress someone else by saying, you have to accept my view. View whatever you want till we're corrected. Really, it's not an issue. But I've noticed that I often become the litmus test for whether people are open to reconciliation or restoration. I have to tell you, how many, and it's still, after all these years of doing this now, 15 trips in 5 years, and I'm coming back at the end of June, it's still now, today's May 1st, May Day. Anyone wearing red? Oh, good. No communists around. Would you think that's fake news? No. We in Israel don't have a concept of fake news. We've been used to making things up. Our politicians. Really. Politics in Israel, by the way, is a contact sport. It's taken very seriously. Yeah. Krav Maga. 2/3 of Hebraic roots Messianic believing two-house congregations in America won't allow me in the front door. I'm all about mutual respect for the reconciliation and restoration of all of Israel. I repeat it. All these talks that I've given are up on YouTube. Articles that I've written, unitedtorestore.com. Because they're not ready for reconciliation. Because I've got to say, it's not me personally. But if you can't get along with a Jewish person like me, in my willingness to embrace all of my brothers and sisters, however they believe, whatever they believe, it's not for me to judge. Then you know what? They're not going to make the cut. They're going to fall out. And I never thought of it that way until recently. People keep pointing that out to me. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten speaking dates set up. I come to America, and then I get an email, usually not a phone call, explaining, oh, I'm sorry, we have to cancel our invitation. Now, guys, it's not like I could fly home for Shabbat. Like I'm stuck, which is now why I fly Southwest, because I can change my reservations, and it's for that reason, believe it or not. It's not always the cheapest fare, although it usually is, but it's the one airline that allows me to change my reservations without losing my money. And I've had to do that because of people who keep pulling the plug. Usually they'll come up with some cockamamie excuse. I am personally responsible for 5 HVAC systems in congregational buildings going out. People tell me, we can't have you because our HVAC system just went out and we've got to spend all the money. What are you spending $220 on airfare for me, and you're taking up an offering, but you, come on. These, or people say, like, well, people are concerned. You're not a believer. And I got to quote Batya Wooten, who said, there's something wrong with us in this movement when we refer to our Jewish brothers and sisters who have kept the Torah at great personal cost, and we call them not believers. So, I get goosebumps whenever, she's an amazing woman. Amazing woman. And, occasionally people come. I hear this, from, Ken Rank and I got together with United to Restore. United to Restore with the number 2 on our website, unitedtorestore.com. People say to him, I understand what you're doing with your Jewish friend. That would be me. But I don't think this is the time for reconciliation and restoration. So you know what? Let's keep doing what we've been doing for the last 2,000 years, because hasn't that worked out so well for all of us? We'll see. Are you being sarcastic? Me? No. Bless your hearts.
I knew
we need to introduce in Israel, in Hebrew, a version of bless your hearts, because that just covers a multitude of sin. You really want to say, this person is the biggest fool on the planet. Bless her heart. And you just kind of bat your eyelashes. It's kind of like Southern Belle Secrets. Oh, I can't reveal any Southern Belle secrets that have been told to me at any time ever. We're just having too good a time.
Always great.
This is amazing.
Yeah, it's always great.
This is amazing what can happen when people actually sit down. And what can happen when people actually open up their hearts. Now understand, that doesn't mean you need to change anything that you do or believe.
I got to say, you're one of, I don't know, people that I've actually heard say something like that. You're willing to call me your brother, and that alone says something. You're willing to call me your brother, and you're not requiring me to change who I am or what I think.
No. And you know what? I don't even harbor the you know, in the back recesses of my mind, you know, the prayer that one day Dr. David Jones, pastor of Ruach Ministries International, is going to become a... You know what? Do not become Jewish. Read my lips. I know my American history. Read my lips. This is not a secret thing. Do not become Jewish. Stay who you are. Continue to walk out that walk. Please. We already have enough confused Jews. Please. Bless their hearts.
You got to do it. Live for a home or something like that.
I gotta share something, and this is kind of like telling you as well as for all those listening.
In TV land.
Yeah. One of the things that really was a true blessing to me was you and Mike Clayton. I love it when you two get together anyway, but because I can kind of be a fly on the wall and just let them go. But when you two get together, and then we were in Arizona for the Bina gathering. And
Which, by the way, that stands for B'nai Yosef North America.
I was getting there.
Okay, I'm sorry. Family members, what do you expect? We're going to talk over each other.
So, so when we were there, and you and Mike, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was Mike's idea.
It certainly wasn't mine.
Joined up with Dr. Sukina, and
in a recording that will live forever on the internet.
You can find it. You can find it.
Sadly. It was
as a portrayal, as a show about the prodigal son, and the short story of it, because boy, Dr. Sukina really kind of.
Well, when you take a 5-minute skit and you're up there for 36 minutes, as one of the three of us is doing a monologue while Mike and I are standing there, but I don't want to say who it was. You know, it's okay. It's okay.
But it was good. It was great. The premise of it was this, and that really did touch something with me, was that the prodigal son, the story of the prodigal son, he left, he squandered everything, he came back home to dad. But do we ever see a record of him going to his brother who stayed there and was faithful to his father the whole time, saying, hey bro, I'm sorry for what I did to you? I don't see that.
There's never an attempt at reconciliation. There's never even, well, that just about says it all. There's no attempt. And, you know, that's something that's interesting. I mean, I have people who'll come over to me and say, I want to repent for my ancestors that I'm sure, you know, were in the Crusades and slaughtered Jews. I want to repent for the Holocaust. I want to repent. And they'll want to repent for everything except the incessant need that they have to convert me and turn me into them. That's kind of like fair game. And it is about, you know, when I say to people, and for those of you particularly here, you know, a part of the family that I've been able to visit with repeatedly over the years, what you see is what you get. I mean, I don't hold back anything. And I really, when I say continue to be who you are, I respect you and love you, And it's like people say, well, do you know we believe in Yeshua? I'm like, duh. Now, let me tell you this. To the Jewish mindset, we don't have an equivalent of your relationship with Yeshua. We're straight with Hashem. It's the way we are. So I can't explain, but I got to tell you, it's not for me to have to explain it. And it's like, Lucy, you have some explaining to do. No, this isn't I love Lucy. This is I love you, my brother or sister. It's a sense of, I know what you believe. And even, I don't have to understand it. I don't have to rationalize it. I just have to accept you for what you are. It's obvious that Yeshua has brought you to the Torah. Without your relationship with Yeshua, you would not be who you are where you are. That's not what our side of the family does. Fine, we're different. Big deal. As I like to say to people, I say, you know, it's as significant as your eye color, which isn't significant at all. My parents, my mother of blessed memory had brown eyes. My father of blessed memory had blue. My older brother has blue eyes. I have brown. Well, that's like, you know, in Bio 101, you know, when they draw that box, you know, your genetics, big deal. It doesn't mean anything. So we're different. So what? So what? Our focus is above and heart to heart. And I got to tell you, this is the time to stand with Medinat Yisrael, the state of Israel. This is the time to stand with your Jewish brothers and sisters. This is the time to buy Israeli products and care. This, because, you know, just say, hey, I'm part of Israel. Aren't I cool? Well, maybe you're cool, but part of Israel. You know, there used to be, when I was a kid, there was a commercial. American Express had a commercial. Membership had its privileges. Never had an American Express card. Anyway, but it also has its responsibilities. You're part of Israel. By the way, that's another thing I've got to quote Batya Wooten on. You know, she said, you know, we're used to going to these conferences and meetings and crying out, we are Israel. She said, you know, to Jewish ears, that must sound very much like replacement theology. We are Israel, and you ain't. Is you or is you ain't? My constituency. Great movie. Great movie. To remain unnamed.
Here comes the rail, by the way.
Yes. I am the man. Okay, no singing tonight. I'm sorry. I got confused. Still confused. I'm killing myself here. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. What was I talking about? Do we have cue cards anywhere?
No, we don't.
No, we don't?
We don't. That was the beauty of this.
That's the beauty of it.
The conversation.
This is raw and unplugged. That sounds nasty.
Well, I don't. This is a wireless mic, by the way. So
Okay.
it is not plugged.
That's okay. Anyway, I can't.
The thing that I'm thinking about is we can't say we're Israel and not do anything about it.
Oh, that was about. I'm sorry.
And
Thank you so much.
Abraham, our father said to Abraham, "I will bless those that bless you, curse those that curse you."
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward.
So what do we do with that?
And how much more so when you're part of the family? But anyway, what I was mentioning in terms of, you know, yelling out, we are Israel, it's actually should be, we are part of Israel. Because we, the Jewish side of the family, have had to deal with replacement theology for 2,000 years. You know, we are the new Israel. We is and you ain't. That kind of thing.
Another thing that was really amazing when we were in Israel, you took us to a spot in Masada, which a lot of people go to Masada, okay? But you took me to a place up there that I hadn't been to before, and it was overlooking these hills, and you told you could fill in the spots that I'm missing here.
No,
but you took us to the spot where they would harass the soldiers down at the bottom of the mountain, and we made a proclamation up there.
Yeah, it's the southern side. Most people who go up to Masada don't go there. They go to the northern palace. They go to the eastern side. You know, they go, you know, the snake path. They go to the other side with the Roman siege. But This is the southern side. And Josephus, when he described, that the Jewish defenders would taunt the Roman soldiers, well, how do you make your voice carry that far? There's an echo there. In that section, there's an echo. And we cried out two things. Am Yisrael Chai, the people of Israel live. And then I asked everyone to please yell out, Od Yosef Chai, Joseph still lives, the verse from the Bible. And it's amazing to stand there and yell out, Od Yosef Chai, Od Yosef Chai, Od Yosef Chai. Oh. It was, yeah.
It was amazing to just hear that, and it was just not just the echoes, but it seemed like every time it echoed, it was like doubling the amount of people that were saying it. It was just an amazing experience that was there, and the elevation of Masada. I mean, it's like way up there.
Yeah,
and there was no way I was walking that. To go, I took the sky,
the cable car.
Yeah, the cable car. Yeah, I wouldn't walk in that.
Actually, in future Connect Israel tours, we're thinking of, letting some people ride on the outside of the cable car. No, we're not to do that. By the way, for those listening interested in the Connect Israel tour, please go to my website, kolyehuda.com, KOLYEHUDA.com. It's got information about the Connect Israel tour, other tours and events that I'm involved with, my speaking trips to America, where I'm going next. It's got a blog that I'm going to revive shortly. By the way, that's a blog strictly about Israel. It doesn't get into politics and other information about Israel. It's even got one of those magical, it's got contact information, how to get in touch with me, send me a note, a request. It even has one of those magical donate buttons. Okay. Do you guys have that in American websites? I didn't think so. Yeah, but it's a magic. You hit that button and you can donate money. In other words, instead of just simply supporting my efforts or praying for my efforts, but actually helping partner in making that possible.
I'm glad you said something about that, because every trip that you've made, you said it's self-funded.
Yeah,
and you're not exaggerating that.
No.
Because every trip you make, it's kind of like you go in the hole before you even go, and it's
and
tough.
You live in that hole for a long time. What's funny is when people say, well, you really should, I fly here to the U.S. on El Al, and in the U.S. now I fly Southwest exclusively, again, because of the reasons I detailed earlier. And people say, you really should go to them and explain the work that you're doing. So, I actually tried that. I got some, Southwest representative on the phone, and certainly with the El Al representatives, reconciliation, restoration of all of Israel, Judah, Ephraim, and they're listening very attentively, and it's really cool. And I thought I was really getting an understanding going. And they said, fantastic, sir. And how would you like to pay for that reservation? Which credit card will you be using? So, yeah, you can't really expect a major corporate entity to, cut you slack because you think you're doing something really important.
Yeah, so with that, guys, help. What Hanoch is doing, it's not just over in Israel, and it's not just here. He truly is the only person that I know of personally that is trying to bring a restoration and a reconciliation and trying to help bring in the times that we're all praying for. And so it really is an amazing thing. So Hanoch, we're kind of rounding out on some time. Is there anything you... Oh.
The end is near, and so I face the final. I'm
not going to duet with you, bro.
It's really, it's become so patently obvious that I'm looking for like a backup singer's position somewhere. I'm thinking, I saw recently, Leonard Skinner, kind of a farewell tour. Well, a couple of years, they'll want to reform. My last name isn't Van Zandt, but, I could do it.
Yeah, but it's
Support
young,
Southern rock,
It's young, not younger, because you're not getting any younger.
When my mother of blessed memory used to say, sweetheart, you'll always be young, I didn't realize she meant strictly in name only. Yeah, that was kind of difficult. Anyway, David, thank you so much. This has been great. I've really enjoyed the time together. And Thanks for letting me share, bro.
Yeah, I'm glad you're able to be here in more ways than one. And just kind of like I said, doing this just kind of like sitting down, just having a talk.
We'll have to do this again soon.
Yeah, that'll be fun for me. I don't know about you guys. But
For all you folks in TV land.
With that, we'll get ready to kind of close up here, okay? And please, like I said, help out. If you have something you want to help out with tonight, we did pass envelopes out. If you want to write a check, you can write to RMI, and we'll give him one check at the end of the evening, because that'll help out too. We're not trying to, juggle everything and try to lose stuff, and just easier to do one thing. He's got enough to carry. I've seen your suitcase.
I do suitcases.
They got a 50-pound weight limit, right?
That's the other thing. God bless Southwest. 2 50-pound suitcases. People say, why do you travel with so much stuff? I said, well, it's one thing to go to some place and, expect to be given, a bed to sleep in and food to eat. Rarely do people have clothing in my size waiting for me. Under Armour, I'm sorry, is that a large or an extra large? I don't know why not, but it...
Awesome. So if we can, let's go ahead and we'll close that up. Josh, what do we have first? We have the blessing or the announcements?